creatures of the wild seeking human aid. While animals often thrive on their autonomy, there are moments when they seek the assistance of humans. In this video, we delve into the second chapter of extraordinary instances where animals, from majestic elephants and bears to affectionate canines and equines, have reached out to people for rescue. Prepare to be amazed by these poignant interactions. Let's dive in. Number 11. Bear. Bears are curious creatures, and they're big fans of unexpected visits. But who likes that kind of guest, right? A few years ago, a bear entered the home of an American family in Florida. Rescue workers were called to the scene and were unable to frighten the bear away by ordinary means, so they decided to tranquilize it. The shot of the tranquilizer made the bear panic and run to the sea, perhaps to escape on the water. Unfortunately for it, the tranquilizer began to work right in the sea, and the bear could have drowned at any moment. But it stood there with the last of its strength, showing that it needed help. To its delight, Adam Warwick, a biologist with the Wildlife Conservation Commission, rushed to swim and save the animal. Adam made an incredible effort to keep the 180-kilo body afloat. He wrapped his arms around the bear, preventing the animal from going under. Soon, a boat came up to the drowning bear, and the animal was pulled ashore. All ended well, and after examination, specialists returned the bear to its natural habitat. A similar incident happened to another animal from this video, but if that bear wandered into the sea on its own, the next animal was caught unprepared by the powerful elements. Stay tuned to find out how everything ended and to see other amazing moments of animals asking humans for help. Number 10. Cow. One sunny day, a man named Dave was walking through the green meadows of Ontario, Canada, enjoying the sight of cows grazing. The man decided to take a picture of them and walk closer. Suddenly, he saw that the cows were worried about something. One of them was standing by the fence, mooing loudly and turning its head. Dave looked closely and saw that its calf was on the other side of the electrified fence, stuck and unable to get back up. Realizing exactly what was bothering the little cow, Dave set about rescuing the baby. He did it without much trouble, and soon the calf was extracted from the trap and brought back to its mother. Dave was heartened that the cow was able to trust him and ask for help. Dave also said that he visited the farm several more times after the incident, and each time he made sure that the cow remembered him and was grateful to him. It came up to Dave and looked into its rescuer's eyes. Number 9. Elephant. The elephant is the largest land animal on the planet. It would seem that this giant doesn't need help and can cope with any difficulties by itself, but it can't. This footage shows an elephant from Zimbabwe after encountering poachers. They put a bullet in its forehead, but luckily the elephant survived, and the bullet lodged in its skull caused no harm. Nevertheless, with time, the wound would get worse. Plus, walking with a bullet in the head is not very comfortable. So, the elephant made the right decision. It asked people for help. The rangers to whom the elephant came understood what was wrong and called a team of vets on the spot. They sedated the giant with a dart and assessed the wound. Although it was superficial, it was already festering, so the vets decided to act immediately. With effort, they removed the bullet from the skull, then disinfected and stitched the wound. The vets waited until the elephant woke up to make sure the animal was okay. After recovering from the anesthesia, the elephant was soon pacing. Fortunately, everything turned out fine, and the giant was even given the nickname Pretty Boy. Now it's looked after by gamekeepers who do everything to ensure that their ward does not fall into the hands of poachers again. Number 8. Horse. Natural disasters affect not only people but also animals. If people can still evacuate and move to another place, animals, as a rule, are caught unprepared. Many of them are literally trapped. That's what happened to many animals in Texas when Hurricane Harvey swept over the state in August 2017. The flooding flooded many areas of the state and caused massive damage. Horses were especially unlucky as they stood in locked pens and risked drowning. It was only a matter of minutes, but luckily, the horses managed to get the attention of concerned people who freed them from their death trap. Look at this horse jumping out to freedom in a hurry. It was its lucky day. Number 7. Dog. Dogs are extremely loyal creatures that are willing to do anything for humans. But sometimes, people have to bail out dogs too. A few years ago, this scene was captured on the street of an Indian city. Passers-by stumbled upon a dog that was standing in the middle of the street, howling desperately, trying to attract attention. As they got closer, people saw a puppy lying next to it. The puppy was injured and needed help. Indifferent passers-by contacted the local animal rescue center, and volunteers soon arrived on the spot. The dog was very worried, but still allowed one of the volunteers to come up to its puppy and examine it. The puppy was not feeling well, and when the volunteer took it in his arms, it began to cry in pain. The mother dog was crying along with it. The poor baby had to be rescued immediately, so the volunteers didn't hesitate. Fortunately, the story had a good ending. The puppy was treated and fed at the center, and then returned to its mother. Number 6. Little fox. Little creatures are especially curious because they're learning about the world. But in the case of animals, this curiosity can sometimes lead to bad consequences. For example, this little fox got its head stuck in a jar and couldn't get it off. The hole was too narrow. It had to go to people for help. To its delight, it came across some hunters near the forest. They were surprised to see a little fox coming to them for help, and they helped it out. The trap was quickly neutralized, and the little fox finally breathed in and ran back into the woods to continue exploring the world. Number 5. Monkeys. In the wild, animals get their own food and water, but sometimes they don't have that option and have to suffer from thirst. These monkeys were in just such a situation. Hikers were on a hike when they came upon these primates. One of them ran up to the hiker and started grabbing a bottle of water that was sticking out of his backpack. At first, the hikers thought the monkey just liked the bottle, but then they realized it needed to drink urgently. The request was granted, and the monkey quenched its thirst. And here's another primate suffering from thirst, but regular water is not what it wants. Apparently, life in the zoo is relaxed. This chimpanzee saw now it wants something tastier, for example, a soda. The chimp was pointing at a bag of food and drink from one of the female visitors, asking her to pass the goodies. When the woman got the soda, the chimp moved a few meters away and pointed to a hole in the wall through which the woman began to pour the drink. Now you know that primates like soda just as much as we do. Number 4. Crow. Here comes another creature suffering from thirst and heat. On a hot summer day, this crow couldn't find any water. There were no ponds or pools nearby. What to do in such a situation? Ask people for help, of course. The clever crow saw people with bottles of water, flew over to them, and begged for water. At first, people didn't understand what the crow demanded from them, or they didn't know the best way to give it water, but in the end, one of those present realized to pour water into the lid. This satisfied the crow, and it gladly quenched its thirst. It's amazing how intelligent these birds are. Either way, crows have a very good memory. They remember people by their faces. So this black beauty certainly remembered its saviors. Maybe the crow will help them somehow later. Number 3. Cat. In the winter, common street animals are hiding in warm cars, and with increasing frequency, this is especially true of cats, which regularly climb on the wheels or hide under the hood. Be careful and make sure that your car doesn't have some fluffy cat clinging to it. An innocent life will be saved. As in this case, this kitten climbed under the engine and got stuck behind the radiator enclosure. Luckily, its mom was nearby and immediately went looking for humans. Fortunately, the kitten wasn't big, and an indifferent passerby rescued it without much trouble. As soon as the kitten was free, the mother cat took it in its teeth and rushed to its other babies, which were already waiting for it in the trash can. Number 2. Duck. Ducks have one big problem. Their ducklings often fall through sewers and storm drains while roaming around the city, and no wonder. Such babies can fall into even the tiniest hole that happened to this duck's babies. As the author of this video told us, the duck came up to him, started quacking intensely, and led the way to the storm drain. Quacking was heard from there too. The cameraman immediately understood everything and called the rescue team on the spot. They rescued the babies of the grieving duck. They took off the lattice, lowered the ladder, went down themselves, and got all the ducklings to the surface. None of them suffered much, and the duck family was soon reunited. Number 1. Panda. When animals ask people for help, it doesn't always mean they're in danger or that their lives are in danger. Pandas are a great example of this. These creatures are some of the cutest on the entire planet. They chew bamboo, roll in the grass, roll on the ground, and climb trees all day long. But here's the problem. Not all pandas can jump out of a tree. Some just plummet to the ground, breaking branches beneath them. Some ask people for help. This panda showed that it had to get down from the tree. A reserve staff member walked up to the panda, it hugged him by the neck like a baby, and the staff member lowered it to the ground. It sounds like the cutest video in the whole video to me. That's all, guys. Have you ever helped animals? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and see you later.